Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. We are about to embark on a conversation with three persons who form a grouping that functions as a label, production, publishing, and music collective, dealing in steelpan, dub, reggae, dancehall, and more. Jah Bami, CP.U and Ras Jammy form Sons of Dub, and they discuss the trod and style that is all their own. So gentlemen, we want to welcome you, Jah Bami. I want to start with you, please. Panist to juicy to esoteric messages in every punchline. Give me a little history about Sons of Dub, thank you.
Well, Sons of Dub for me. Hi, Jah Bami here. It's a blessing to be here. It's an honor. Sons of Dub is definitely a family. Brothers, Ras Jammy and Addis Pablo are like the key, like formation members. You want to form for the founders of the group Sons of Dub. And I was blessed to be a part of Sons of Dub as a vocalist, touring with Addis and Jammy for like approximately over like almost 10 years now we're doing this. And it's been amazing. It's been a great journey. We have been almost everywhere I could think about. We just have Africa and India to go to. But Ras Jammy has so much more on Sons of Dub because him being like the foundation member, the founder, he has a lot more on Sons
No
of Dub.
problem. Well, let us go there now. Ras Jammy, you are following your individual pursuits, right? But what is it that makes it more possible as Sons of Dub than Ras Jammy, Jah Bami, or CP.U to implement what it is you have in mind?
I think Sons of Dub, as Jah Bami said, began as a family. Unity was the core thing in Sons of Dub, and people fell in love with that unity. They fell in love with seeing visually what we were doing and then hearing sonically what we were doing, you know? And I think now, 10 years later, as we come full circle, what Sons of Dub represent is more like the same thing. If you look at the name, SUNS, we are not partial if it's male or female. We inclusive with everybody, no matter where you come from, what lifestyle you're moving with, you know? So Sons of Dub really began as a collective where we were presenting deep roots reggae rockers music with Steelpan and Melodica. You know, and as we started to do more work across the Caribbean, across the world, we went to Asia, we went to Europe a lot of times, we went to South America, and we decided to expand things and make it a bit more Trini, but make it a bit more international. So over the past couple of years, we opened up the label a bit more. We started a publishing company. We started doing a bit more mentoring, a bit more free shows and showcases across the world, showing really that it's more than just a performing group, you know?
And you talk about what it is you're doing sonically, but if there was, I know some people say to label is the limit, but if you're looking out for something or you want to go to a Sons of Dub concert, what are some of those things that individuals expect?
And when you see Sons of Dub, I mean, when you hear Sons of Dub, or when somebody sees Sons of Dub on a poster, it's almost unexpected, you know? You're not sure what you're getting, but you know you're getting something good. You know you're getting some steel drums, you know you're getting roots reggae, you know you're getting good vibes. But what we specialize in is improvising. Funny enough, we have never really rehearsed for a show. We don't go into shows saying that we would play this song first or that song next. We really just go with our vibe, you know? And when you come to a Sons of Dub party or event that Sons of Dub is at, the only thing you could imagine is good vibes, good music, good meditation, as we say, you know, and good people.
Thank you so much. Now, Captain, you are the newest arrival to the group. Is that something you feel a little pressure about or to represent, or you need to show that you belong? How do you approach it?
To be honest, my approach is more, I don't feel like if I have to belong or anything. Like them guys make me feel like I belong immediately, even before I was part of the collective. So, you know, in Trinidad, they say, you just end up with somebody. I just end up with these guys based on very calculated moves, but it's definitely an experience. And as Jamie says, a family. So that's how we approach it. And my role in it is more as a composer and to add dynamism with like percussion and just more live elements, because I'm pretty all right with percussion and live DJing and all of those things. So I think it just helps encompass it into one bigger, you know, entity.
Let me ask this question, CP.U, in the sense that Ras Jammy just talked about not really practicing that much before you're going to do a live set. Now, as a composer, what are some of the things that you need to kind of factor in to say, okay, well, we could go here, we could go there, but saying, okay, well, this is what I want us to bring to the table, and then from there we can improvise and make the thing a little sweeter. What are some of those elements that you put into the pot to do that?
Well, what I would do is I would do my homework from home first. And then bring it forward and say, hey guys, I do so. You guys hear this? Yeah. All right, we like that. All right, well, Ras Jammy fit the team where you see fit. You know, and he went to mention that we never do a rehearsal. However, there's a different way of doing rehearsal where before we go on the stage, we spend 2-3 hours just vibing and listening to music. And I think that is our rehearsal where it really starts, because Bami has an ear that once he has time, he's going to pick up to be able to play anything on the fly on the Steelpan while we're on the stage. And then I just generally listen to a lot of music. So if I know that we generally, in a set, we might play these 10 songs, I will know those 10 songs inside out. So that is my thing. And then composing wise is left up to Jammy. After I have to do, he would know where to put it, and then tell Bami, hey, you know, if you play pan over this instrumental, it'll be sick. And then his magic happens from there.
As much. And Jah Bami, talk to me a little bit about that, thank you. And when I say that, normally when we hear pan, there are different sorts of conversations in the sense that pan is supposed to be by itself in a pan orchestra. Some people say pan is another instrument that you can use. How do you use pan? How do you utilize those steel drums and fit it in where Sons of Dub is concerned?
Well, that's an amazing question. You see, for me, right, growing up home in Trinidad and being a part of a family that is so Steelpan orientated, like I never know, and I didn't think like in the future this would have been it. So the pan, I think the pan with dub is the brand newest, if we could say that, such a word, new thing that ever to happen in the dub world. Before, we have a lot of melodical players through to Augustus Pablo bringing forward the instrumentals on dub with the melodical. And I grew up on Augustus Pablo before I met Addis Pablo. And you know what I mean? So it's amazing now that I could bring our national instrument as part of this dub world, a part of this dub culture, and feature my heritage, my culture, my roots. So it feels like, all right, we have a part in this now. We know it's reggae. It's reggae influence a lot. So now we have our saying it. We have the Steelpan. We do a lot of calypso, because all my vocals with Sons of Dub is calypso. Regardless what reggae track you would hear me on, it can be a man is just a man, it can be whatever. My vocals will always be calypso. So because of that, though, we feel like we have our own space in the dub world, and that really happened. It's happening now where in the dub world, because we have international dub gathering in a couple of weeks to go to, and that's all the dub songs in the entire world, and we're the only dub song representing Trinidad. So we definitely know we're gonna only be the only song that with a steel pan for sure, the only song that with calypso. You know what I mean? So that's the blessing. The blessing is a lot of people get the opportunity to feel and know and get a sense of where we come from, being Trinidadians, and Trinbagonians, because we're not leave out Tobago.
And looking at that in terms of creating your own space, looking at heritage, culture, and roots is something that we're going to do when we return from the break. Stay with us. We come back with more. Welcome back. We are speaking with Sons of Dub, and there are conversations about music and entertainment in TNT, gentlemen. Some even asking if we have an industry. But one thing that we can agree on is that reggae music is not the largest output of TNT. Now, I want to ask you, and I'll start with you, Ras Jammy, how do you navigate the landscape in terms of trotting on your journey as the King's Highway, as it were, looking at the music that you do?
I mean, I agree with you a bit when you say there's a lack of an industry in Trinidad. So there's not much navigating in Trinidad, because we do reggae music, but within reggae, we do dub, which is also a subgenre of reggae music. But when you look at the wider scope of things, in surviving reggae music, dub is the most stable and sustained subgenre within reggae that constantly holds festivals, bookings, artists are making money, they are making revenue, they have lifestyles, opposed to the dancehall or the reggae or the ska or whatever. A couple of years ago, we experienced a death of reggae, and then you had the reggae revival, you know, with the Chronics and the Micah Shemayas and the Proteges and the other artists. You know, a lot of these artists, we were in Jamaica at that time, we worked hand in hand with a lot of these artists, you know. So for us, navigating the landscape internationally is very easy because we are a part of this new reggae movement naturally. You know, I was living in Jamaica, Jah Bami was a regular visitor, and a lot of these artists, Chronics, you know, the Kabaka Pyramids, big up them on the Grammy nomination. A lot of these are our collaborators. A lot of these are the people that we have worked in and worked with day in, day out. We used to have a booking agency where we booked a lot of them on festivals all across Europe. So navigating now is not difficult for us because we really paved our own way on our own accord. So it hasn't been difficult, you know. I think what Trinidad needs is probably just a lot more support from the top coming down. And then we need to try to find a way to encompass communities in what we are doing and finding more smaller ways to have smaller groups of people getting interested bit by bit into what we are doing. One, which is dub music, which is not a new thing to Trinidad, but it's something that we are bringing back, you know? And then also just music in general. You know, we have the Trinidad movement, we have the Reggae All Stars movement that took a big knock, you know, and it's coming back with artists like Daniel Bless, Black Loyalty, all these other artists, you know. So right now, navigating the landscape isn't easy, but I think the biggest thing you have is the internet, and that really sets the way for anyone who wants to do anything. You can go on the internet tomorrow, you can go on an AI website, you can generate a beat, you can go on our next AI website, you generate the lyrics, you sing a song, you go get your own publishing on BMI, you can register your songs, you release it on DistroKid, you know, so everything is there. You know, the artists that we see from Trinidad today that are making waves across the Caribbean, you know, the Boy Boys and the Prince Swans, they did that on their own. They didn't have the radio, they didn't have the 96.1s and these people behind them, you know, so navigating isn't easy, but you really have to make your own path, you know?
And I'll ask you, CP.U, is it, you feel the same way? You have anything else differently that you think about it? What's your take on that?
I'm Jammy and I and Bami, we kind of have this conversation weekly, so we more or less share the same sentiments. But as he says, you have to have a hunger for it, you know. A lot of us would have gotten comfortable in just hoping somebody sees our talent and picks us up and puts us on a flight and flies us to the show and puts us in the hotel. Through the internet and just how times are now, the people really have to see you get up and get in it if they're really going to give it to you. So I think the whole thing is people see us get up and get in it, so we will get what we deserve.
And even though I want to ask you the same question, Jah Bami, I also want to do it within the context of the fact that you do so much vocalizing, Steelpan, you're a businessman. I hear it's papers and not newspapers that you're dealing with as well. So what's your take on it in light of the amount of things that you do?
Well, I mean, for me, like I'm much older than Jammy and CP.U, so I still come from the culture of like working with people like Ram Romani, when Dennis Belfort and Kakalele, you know, when when Chris Garcia was the Indian Warrior. So I come from a long list of writing soca's for Rocky and Galen and working with Treason and all these things being on tempo, hosting. So the experience I got throughout the Caribbean, I know for a fact that if we do have a strong, some sort of foundation in the Caribbean, we could do so much where we personally don't have to go to Europe all the time. We could start bringing these people to our shows. You know, we could start having festivals all over the Caribbean. Like for right now with spring break coming up, and you know, a lot of like these US authorities are begging like these spring breakers not to go to Mexico, not to go here, not to go there. And we have the whole Caribbean where we could really explore more and show so much more craft and talent throughout the region. I have the experience of being throughout the region. So yeah, I would say that once we get it together, Trinidad is a start because everybody in the Caribbean knows for a fact that if you have some sort of leverage in Trinidad, whether it be music, art, fashion, you will get some sort of look on the outside. Because Trinidad pretty much come like the capital of the Caribbean when it comes to entertainment in all reality. So once we get it together, we should be good. And I could see the change. I'm actually seeing the change, and I'm very grateful for it. There's a lot of talent home, and I'm coming home to invest in a lot more talent as well. So yeah, it's gonna happen.
Okay, and looking at those changes, looking at the festivals, one of the things that happens in terms of, yes, you're saying, okay, well, festivals can be created in the Caribbean, but that is not necessarily the case now, even though it may be starting, that seed may have been planted. Ras Jammy, what goes into touring? Do you say, okay, well, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to take this line and reach from here to there. How do you decide how it is you're scheduling and flying, especially if you're not following carnivals and breaking out into other performances like a soca artist? What's that process like for Sons of Dub?
I mean, touring independently on your own is not an easy thing. I think what goes into it, one of the main things is money, but I think that's not the most important thing. I think you have to have, like you say in Trinidad, you have to have your links, you know? It's not really always who you know, but who knows you. And that's why you have to get your music out there, use the tools at hand, and try to get it in every crevice and every crease and every corner. Now, I think what a lot of people wait on is for someone to pick them up and carry them somewhere. As Trinidadians, we have to understand we have a powerful passport. We don't need a visa to go to Europe. We don't need a visa to go to the UK for 6 months. I was recently in Israel. We didn't need a visa to go to Israel, you know? So it comes down to strategic planning, logistics, you know? Sometimes it simply comes down to, as a musician, investing in yourself and deciding to take a flight to London as a vacation and then navigating the scene for yourself. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know what you're going to pick up. You know, so sometimes it starts just like that. You know, for me, having worn the booking agent hat, it can get difficult, you know, because as demand grows, it gets hectic doing 7 shows in 10 days, moving from one place to the other place. But also it does well to know the landscape, to know the economic landscape and the social landscape of Europe and the places that you're going to, you know, but it just starts with getting up and going. A lot of people say, I wish I could. It takes nothing to go into the passport office. You get your passport in 6 weeks, you know, you buy a flight, you go to Europe and you start, you know. So at the end of the day, I think we just need to open up our eyes, you know, stop walking with our heads down and, you know, and like I say, use the tools that are there for us. No, we don't get as many calls as calls we make, you know. For every 10 or 20 emails we send, we may get 1 or 2 responses, you know. Sometimes an artist may say, my fee is this and that amount, and I don't move unless I get that fee. Well, probably sometimes you won't move because a lot of times it's a give and take, you know. And I mean, it's not a difficult thing, you know. And we, as Sons of Dub as an entity, we are here for anyone who wants to know more, who would be willing to take the chance or have the bravery as a musician to invest in themselves to go out and tour. We are here to support, you know, to help with touring, to help with publishing, to help with distribution, all these different things.
And with regard to that, I want to get information in terms of like how individuals would contact Sons of Dub, but I also want to know, and hopefully we can do this round robin as we have about 3 minutes, how do you compartmentalize your art? Booking agent or former booking agent, publishing, curating, does it flow from one to the other seamlessly? Does one suffer because you need to put more effort into one than the other? How do you deal with that?
For me, for me personally, there's not much compartmentalization. I would wake up and I would give thanks to the Creator. I would do my morning routine and I would pick up my phone. And the first thing that is in front of me is what I deal with. If it is an artist inquiring about a claim for a song for publishing, I start writing up that contract from my phone on the Google Docs. If it is someone responding from a request for a show, you know, for instance, I could give the practical example. Yesterday, I woke up and a radio station from England reminded me we had to do a mix. So immediately, the first thing I did was the mix. Coming out of the mix, I had some publishing stuff to do, you know. So, I mean, we haven't we haven't put ourselves on that level yet where we have the Sons of Dub building downtown and we have different offices for everything, you know. But I mean, just like I said, we have the internet, we have the technology, we have the tools, you know, we have the programs like Notion that can help us compartmentalize everything. You know, we don't have currently a manager or agent because we do everything ourselves in-house, you know. But like I said again, my workflow may not be everyone else's workflow, you know, because that is exactly my talent. My talent is actually making stuff happen, making stuff work.
And in terms of making stuff happen and making stuff work, I'm sure what people are going to be so enamored, looking to see how they contact you. So they're doing so for Sons of Dub on all platforms. And we want to thank you so much, Ras Jammy, CP.U and Jah Bami, looking at what the Sons of Dub Collective is doing on behalf of the entire TTT News team. I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth with me. Thank you so much for joining us.